correspondent Kunle Ojo reports that Akpabio disclosed that before now, Nigeria was a beacon of agricultural excellence with an enviable title of the world's leading producer of essential crop such as palm oil, cocoa, groundnut, which were the very lifeblood of the economy. The Senate President called on stakeholders to engage in vital process and bring forth insightful deliberations and dialogues. He prayed that the proposed university, when established, would inspire a renewed spirit of agriculture in Nigeria. Earlier in his opening remarks, Chairman of the committee, Senator Simon Lalong, said the university would serve as a hub for excellence in agricultural research, education and extension services. Lalong said that the institution would offer a comprehensive training curriculum that encompassed both theoretical and practical aspects of agricultural services. The Senate on Thursday received requests from President Bola Tinubu for confirmation of appointment of several ministerial nominees announced in Abuja on Wednesday. President Tinubu's request was contained in a letter addressed to the President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, and read at the beginning of plenary on Thursday. The ministerial nominees as contained in the letter are Dr. Nentawe Iwada, the Minister of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Reduction, Muhammadu Megari Dingyadi, Minister of Labor and Employment, and Bianca Odinaka Odumigo Jugo, Minister of State Foreign Affairs. Others are Dr. Jumoke, Minister of Industry, Trade and Development, Idi Mukhtar, Minister of Livestock Development, Right Honorable Yusuf Abdullahi Atta, Minister of State Housing, and Dr. Suwaiba Zahid Ahmed, Minister of State Education. President Tinubu in a letter sought for expeditious consideration of his request by the Senate. Accordingly, as announced by Akpabio, the Senate referred the presidential request to the Committee of the Whole for consideration very soon.
I am pleased to forward to the Senate the underlisted 7 nominees for confirmation as ministers of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. They are Dr. Nentawe Jilwada, Muhammadu Megari Dingyadi,
And now we are joined by Professor Wilfred Uje, Professor of Social and Economic History, Department of History and International Studies, Federal University of Lafayette, Nasarawa State, to share his views on the current step taken by the President. Good evening and thank you so much for joining us at this time.
Good evening, it's a pleasure having you. Thanks.
All right, so how did you access Tinubu's restructuring of ministries and ministerial portfolio announced yesterday, considering that it was long awaited?
Yeah, first and foremost, this is something that President Bola Tinubu, as a transformational leader under the All Progressive Congress, a change agenda, had come out clearly to say that any minister that was not performing would be dropped. And of course, he made that very clear and had this expectation that non-performing ministers, would be asked to leave, and said it repeatedly that he was going to reshuffle his cabinet, midway in, just to make sure that he achieves his administration's goals. And he has lived up to expectation, and he has done just that. The cabinet reshuffle, some being dropped, some being appointed. To some extent, it's a welcome thing, and most especially the kind of reforms that come in. The major of some ministries, that of culture, and tourism, and of course, what you may say, reforms in the sport ministry, and being established what has been, that will take over that as a commission. And I think this is a welcome thing in the right direction. And the scrapping of the ministry for Niger Delta, development, and being replaced by the ministry, for regional development. We remember very clearly that President Bola Tinubu came up with this regional structure as the fulcrum and the framework for development in Nigeria. The 6 geopolitical zones in Nigeria will serve as regions. And I think this is one right step in the right direction. In that, in most of these regions across Nigeria, I mean the 6 geopolitical regions across Nigeria, federal presence is not so much. For a long time, the Niger Delta Ministry has been there, and it appears as if it's only one section of this country that has been so cared for and being carried along, by this country for so long in terms of investment of federal presence. So what we now have on board as a result of these reforms, the establishment of the Ministry for Regional Development, and of course the appointment of the minister in that respect, means that each of these 6 attention in terms of development.
All right, Professor. So 10 ministers have been reassigned to new portfolios, while 5 were discharged and 7 other ministers nominated for new portfolios. Will this change inject or bring about the new drive of optimal performance in President Tinubu's cabinet?
Yeah, we had expected that some of these ministers will go. Remember, the Minister for Humanitarian Affairs, for instance, and the kind of scandals that came around that office in recent times. And it's a good one, in line with the public image that she has been dropped. And we think that in the overall interest of the nation, in terms of trying to bring you hands on board, Tinubu is trying to do a great job in that respect. And one area that we can clearly see also, and it shows clearly his interest in that area, is education. And of course, has been able to drop the former minister and to bring up another person, appoint another person in that respect. We do hope that with this kind of changes that come in, that Bola Tinubu, will be best positioned to see how best, like we said it again, to transform this nation and of course to achieve some of the strategic, goals of the All Progressive Congress in this country.
Thank you so much for sharing your thoughts with us, Professor. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. It's a great pleasure.
All right, that's Professor Wilfred Uji, Professor of Social and Economic History, Department of History and International Studies, Federal University of Latvia, Nasarawa State. And now we are joined by Idowu Tolorunju. He's joining us from Abuja, and he's a political analyst. Good evening, and thank you so much for joining us at this time.
Good evening, my sister. How are you today?
Fine, thank you. So, right to the questions. What's your impression on the slight cabinet reshuffle embarked upon by President Tinubu?
Okay, I think it's long overdue, but it's a welcome idea for the country to have those foot for a better government, or for the Renew Hope agenda that the president has already promised Nigerians. So it's a welcome idea. It will even help the other ministers to step up their game, to be able to prove to the presidency and Nigeria at large that yes, I think it's time for everybody to sit up and do the right thing so that we can get it right.
Okay, all right. So do you think this is the right time for the action? And what do you expect the ministers to do now going forward, both for the newly appointed, newly assigned, and the ones that were sacked?
They all have the blueprint of the presidency. So I think they need to step up their game. Go back to work to perform. Nigerian to celebrate the Renew Hope agenda that the president already have for the country. So it's in a better direction for Nigerians to welcome what they are seeing right now. So we are good to go. Our own is just to give the necessary support as a citizen of the country.
All right, we thank you so much for sharing your views with us tonight on Galaxy TV News.
Thank you so much.
All right, that's Tolorunju Idowu, a political activist. And now, moving on with the rest of the stories, Economic and Financial Crimes Commission (EFCC) has sought for adjournment of hearing in its new charge against the immediate past governor of Kogi State, Yahaya Bello, and 2 others to November 14, 2024. At the resumed hearing on the matter, counsel to the Commission, Rotimi Oyedepo, said the court issued public summons against Bello, directing that same be published and that the charge be pasted. The trial judge, Justice Marian Anine, however, interjected, stating that she did not ask that the charge be pasted, only the summons. Oyedepo said he expected Bello to be in court on November 14, making reference to the 30-day duration of the summons, and therefore sought for adjournment till November 14 for arraignment of the 3 defendants. Joseph Daudu, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, who appeared for the second defendant, however, objected to this. Justice Miriam Anna Anina subsequently adjourned to 14th and 20th November for response of the first defendant to summon and or arraignment. Now moving on to other stories. GB Foods, a global leader in the culinary industry, has launched this jumbo chicken flavor seasoning cubes in Nigeria, full of flavor and nature. At its launch held alongside its African Culinary Royalty Award, the company rewarded its deserving distributors and sales representatives. Correspondent John Felix completes the story.
With over 50 years of preparations and presence in Africa, the Jumbo Chicken Flavor Seasoning Cubes makes way into the Nigerian market. Made with carefully selected herbs and native chicken, the seasoning offers a unique taste that sets it apart from competitors. The managing director of Jumbo Foods says Jumbo's recipe has been perfected over decades, reflecting the brand's unwavering commitment to quality.
We designed this with the local native chicken in mind, the sweetest chicken. How you say it in Yoruba? Akoko ibile. No, this is the beginning. And we concentrated the flavor in a way that one cube is very powerful. And yet we put in a lot of natural herbs and spices inside. In all, this is one cube that is both full of flavor and full of nature. So when you use Jumbo, you know, I say you ensure that your dish wears your crown. But when you cook with Jumbo, every day is Christmas. Because every day is special. And that's the essence of Jumbo. Just like we did with Party Jollof, just like we do with Bama, now we brought Jumbo. Jumbo is our biggest brand in Africa, our oldest brand, more than 50 years old. And it's taken us 50 years. All over Africa we've gone. We are a leading brand. And now, finally coming home to the heart of Africa, to the king of Africa, to the giant of Africa, to Nigeria.
But then, what sets Jumbo Chicken Flavor Seasoning Cubes apart from other seasonings currently available in the market?
So at GB Foods, right, we believe in celebrating local flavors. How? Local manufacturing. What does that mean? Jumbo Seasoning Cube is manufactured here at Otaburi. We will take our customers later onto the factory to see how it's produced. Local recipes. It is inspired by local recipes we develop locally for our African consumers. And of course, local people. Everybody here, even myself, you know, we're all local Nigerians managing this brand, managing GB Foods.
With the Jumbo Chicken brand, the company says Nigerians should expect a great taste that will be loved everywhere.
In the process of making this product, our consumers have confidently described this product as being full of flavors, delicious, intense chicken flavors. And at the same time, the product is also full of nature because it is made with finely and carefully selected and sourced herbs and spices. All of these are boldly and clearly declared on our packaging for our consumers.
The company also rewarded its distributors and sales representatives to a diamond, platinum, gold, and emerald awards. One of the awardees expressed delight in the company's set goals for Nigerians.
Our relationship with GB Food can be described as a mutually beneficial one. I've been in business with them for 7 years, and the business relationship has been profitable, and the experience has been amazing with the people, with the quality of product, and everything about GB Food.
From Songota in Ogun State, John Felix reporting for Galaxy Television News.
The Managing Director, CEO of the Nigerian Education Loan Fund, NELFund, Akintunde Sawyer, has announced that the fund has received over 350,000 applications and disbursed over 10 billion naira, with a commitment to distribute 90 billion naira in tuition fees and stipends. Speaking at a meeting with the House of Representatives Committee on Student Loans, Scholarship and Higher Education Financing in Abuja, Sawyer emphasized the scheme's inclusivity, ensuring that all Nigerians, regardless of location or background, have access to education. Sawyer highlighted proactive efforts to engage regions like the Southeast, previously feeling left behind, through sensitization initiatives which led to a surge in applications. Chairman of the committee, Honorable Ibrahim Isiaka, commended NELFund's role in creating opportunities for Nigerian youth and encouraged the fund's management to be forward-thinking, urging them to outline their goals and strategies for the next 3 to 5 years.
The lessons that we want to learn from institutions like this, so that we don't again go into their errors. How do we ensure that the extant laws, for instance, the Nigerian Constitution, section 80 to 83, the Nigerian Education Loan, law that was passed, how do we ensure, and then the Financial Regulations Act, how do we ensure that we properly and ensure that we comply with all of these laws? Not only to provide loans, but it's about creating a future where every Nigerian youth has the opportunity to realize their potentials and contribute to the nation's growth. We also expect that we will work very well within the confines of the law and ensure that all the aspirations and the expectations of the people of Nigeria, particularly the youth,
Members of the Academic and Non-Academic Staff Union of Polytechnics and the Senior Staff Association of Nigeria Polytechnics USAN chapter in Edo State have appealed to Edo State Governor Godwin Obaseki to urgently intervene in the welfare issues. This was made known by the union in a joint press briefing held in Benin City, the Edo State capital. According to newsmen on behalf of the unions, the chairman, Academic Staff Union of Polytechnics USAN, Dr. Akere Ekomon, expressed displeasure when the new minimum wage have not been implemented in their institution. On this part, the chairman, Senior Staff Association of Nigeria Polytechnics USAN chapter in the state, Comrade Edwin, said the Polytechnic has not benefited from the reviewed salary.
The Edo State government was the first to approve minimum wage of 70 naira for the workers. Till today, the core civil servants already enjoyed that upward review of salaries. Even some tertiary institutions in Edo State of the same status with Edo State Polytechnic, funded by Edo State government. For instance, College of Agric, Igoraki, College of Health Technology, they have started enjoying this upward review of salaries. For USAN, we are still where we are. For the past 1 decade, Edo State Polytechnic workers have never benefited from any upward review of salaries.
Or the salary structure we are taking now, salary, is the one approved long ago by Shomole. But after then, there will have been reviewed salary. So Edo State Polytechnic didn't benefit from all the review salary, apart from the first one that Governor Shomole implemented.
Now we move to the international desk for more news.
Hello and welcome to the foreign news. Israel's intensified bombing campaign of Lebanon has caused more damage to buildings in 2 weeks than occurred during a year of cross-border fighting with Hezbollah, according to satellite-based radar data. Data shows that more than 3,600 buildings in Lebanon appear to have been damaged or destroyed between 2 and 14 October 2024. This represents about 45% of the total estimated damage since cross-border hostilities between Israel and Hezbollah broke out just over a year ago. The damage data was gathered by Corey Scare of City University of New York and Jamon van den Hoek of Oregon State University. They compared radar satellite images to reveal sudden changes in the height or structure of buildings, which indicate damage. Wim Zingberg, an environmental expert from the Pax for Peace organization, reviewed the satellite-based radar data and warned of the impact of cross-border hostilities between Israel and Hezbollah broke out after the armed Lebanese group started firing rockets in and around northern Israel in support of Palestinians in 8 October 2023. The day after its allies Hamas' deadly attack on southern Israel, Israel invaded southern Lebanon in a dramatic escalation on 30th September to destroy, it said, Hezbollah weapons and infrastructure in limited localized targeted raids. Satellite photos, radar imagery and military records show recent Israeli bombardments in Lebanon has focused on the southern border region. It has also expanded to central and northern areas, including the Bekaa Valley and Beirut's southern suburbs.
And that's it for now, but do join us at 9 p.m. for our prime time news. My name is Iribami Salako. See you then.